Hollywood celebrities. We grew up watching them, getting inspired by them, and somehow they always show up to movies in ridiculously good shape. But how? Do they have secret trainers, crazy diets, or some Hollywood trick the rest of us don't know about? Well, for the next 7 days, I'll be letting these 7 celebrities control my diet to find out their Hollywood secrets and maybe get in shape myself. Or more realistically, just get fat. And I'm starting with a guy who basically eats like a superhero. Dwayne, you're up first. Unfortunately, The Rock didn't respond to my request, so I just tracked down the most recently reported meal that he ate. And let's just say that this might be the most insane breakfast I've ever seen. Just look at this. We've got ground beef with liquid chicken, waffles, and brown rice cereal. This is absurd, having this much food for breakfast. But I guess it's cheat day. And as The Rock says, don't cheat yourself, treat yourself. So let's dig in. I just have no idea in what world brown rice is considered a cheat meal. But I guess that The Rock is from a different world, so it doesn't matter. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I'll also be rating each meal based on 4 different criteria to find out who has the best diet. First, we've got taste. Does it actually taste good, or is it just for show? Second, creativity. Is the meal interesting, or is just plain chicken, rice, and broccoli? Third, preparation. How long does it take to prepare the meal, and is it a convenient option? And fourth, health. Is the meal actually healthy, or is it bad for you? We've got an interesting combination going on here with the ground beef, the waffles, which complement the ground beef, but to be honest, this brown rice is turning me off a bit. So Dwayne, I'm gonna have to give you a score of 3 out of 5 for taste. Creativity, this meal is actually very creative. We've got the sweets, we've got the brown rice, the carbohydrates, the protein. So I've gotta give it 3.5 out of 5 for creativity. For preparation, I gotta scale it down, so it's a 2 because it took me like an hour to prepare all of this with the ground beef, the rice. The brown rice for some reason needed like an hour to finish cooking up. So that's definitely a negative point, and I'm gonna bring it down to 1.5 out of 5 for preparation. Health. Oh, it's actually a very healthy meal, but the waffles makes this a cheat meal, which doesn't really get into the picture of a perfectly healthy meal. But with the protein and everything, I've got to give this a solid 3.5 out of 5 for healthy. And Dwayne, you are getting a total score of 11.5. Not too bad for a pebble. Next on the list is Auntie Kim. Alright, let's see what we can find. The most recently reported meal that I was able to find is a Caesar salad, but there seems to be a twist. She apparently has that without dressing, which is actually pretty impressive. The meal basically consists of grilled chicken, lettuce, and last but not least, Parmesan cheese. So here we've got the dressingless Caesar salad of Kim Kardashian. Alright, here it is. Let's do a taste test. For taste, it's not too bad. It has some freshness to it, so it deserves a solid 3. The thought alone of removing the dressing is actually very creative. So I'm gonna have to give this a solid 3 for creativity. But it may not be the most convenient option to prepare, but it's still nowhere bad as the brown rice. So we can give this a 3.5 for preparation. And lastly, is this meal actually healthy? Well, it's a low-calorie, high-protein meal. It's about 300 calories and more than 30 grams of protein, so it's definitely high on the health spectrum side. So this one deserves a 4.5 out of 5 for health. And Kim, you're coming up with a total score of 14. Moving on to Timothée Chalamet. Now this guy is extremely skinny, as I recently watched him in Marty Supreme, which was a great movie by the way, and I highly recommend it if you're into that 90s old school movies vibe. What the fuck did I just say? It doesn't matter. Alright, in regards to the diet, I'm not expecting much as Timothée is relatively skinny, so the amount of food, I guess, won't be much. Alright, let's see what we can find about his diet. After doing some research on Reddit, of all places, I found that his private chef makes him 3 different breakfasts, which include eggs Benedict, French toast, and lobster frittata. Then Tim chooses from one of them. Since we have a few options, there is only one way that we can choose. Let's put it on the wheel of luck. Alright, now we've got our options: eggs Benedict, French toast, and lobster frittata. So, let's spin it. And we've got French toast as the winner. Alright, here's our French toast. It's looking hella delicious. Let's dig in. Tim, this is looking good so far. Alright. But let's do a taste test. This is the meal that I'm enjoying the most so far. And for taste, I'm giving it a solid 4.5 out of 5. Creativity, there is room for improvement. We can make some additions like adding a protein powder to make this more healthy, but I'm still not gonna judge it too much. Creativity, it's a 3. For preparation of making a French toast, it's not that complicated. We've got a few ingredients. It took me about 15 minutes to make total, so I gotta give it 3.5 for preparation. And for health, is the French toast actually healthy? Well, I'm gonna keep it real with you. French toast is not healthy. So I'm gonna give it a 2.5 out of 5 for health. And Tim, you are coming up with a total score of 13.5. Next up is Leonardo DiCaprio. One of the greatest to ever do it. I feel like most of his movies you can watch more than once and still enjoy them. But let's stop with the glazing and let's find out what bro eats. Scrolling through his Instagram, I wasn't able to find any kind of food. And the only thing that I'm seeing are some wild animals. Has his account been hacked or something? I don't know. Well, we are left with only one option: to go into deep research mode. So I turned to my good old friend ChatGPT to find out what Leo has been up to when he has lunch. So what I was able to find is that Leo's favorite meal is pasta and more pasta. And his favorite kind is pasta bolognese. So, pasta bolognese. Alright, here we've got our pasta bolognese. It's looking hella good. So, let's do a taste test. Alright. Oh man, this is delicious. I haven't had pasta bolognese in quite some time now. So for taste, I'm giving it a 4. For creativity, I'm not gonna judge it too much as we don't know what Leo might be adding as secret ingredients or some secret twists. So I'm just gonna give it a 2.5 for creativity. And preparation, well, don't get me started there. I just remembered why I haven't had this meal in quite some time now, because it takes forever to cook. So preparation, I'm giving it a 2. And to the final question, is pasta bolognese actually healthy? Well, no. So for health, I'm giving it a 2. And Leo, you're coming up with a total score of 10.5. Not too bad for a Hollywood legend. Moving on to Sydney Sweeney. Now, lately I've been doing some shorts and I've actually already tried her diet, but just for the sake of it, I'm gonna include her again, because she's such a sweetheart. And based on my latest research, I can see that she usually has a cheeseburger or a small pizza for lunch. Now this is really quite the convenient option, as if you are on the go, you can just order this very quickly and have something on the go. So I did order a small cheeseburger. And the delivery guy looked at me like I'm crazy for delivering just a single cheeseburger. But I still gave him a small tip. Now this cheeseburger is not looking so good. I think the patty is a little burnt, but still, I'll rock with it. I feel like this is too little food. And it feels like I'm having a snack instead of an actual meal. So let's rate this. It's just plain, greasy, oat, a classic McDonald's cheeseburger. You can't go wrong with this one. I'm gonna have to give it 3 for taste. Creativity, there really isn't much here, so it doesn't deserve more than 1. Sydney, you get 1 for creativity. I think you can do better. And for preparation, you already know. This is getting a 4. And health-wise, is it actually healthy? Well, to be honest, it's not too bad. It stands somewhere in the middle of the health spectrum, so I'm gonna give it a 2.5 for health. It ain't gonna kill you, but it's not winning any health awards either. And Sydney, you're coming up with a total score of 10.5. Up next, we've got Zac Efron. Now this guy is infamous with his beach body and always being in shape. So I'm actually quite interested to find out what the bro eats. And after an extensive research, for about 2 minutes, I was able to find that he begins his breakfast with bone broth. Oh well, I wasn't expecting broth for breakfast, but man, let's see what else he has. It appears that after the bone broth, he actually has some lean source of protein and some veggies. So what I've done here is cut up some lettuce, and we've got our chicken. Alrighty, let's give it a taste test. I should have known that somebody in such good shape wouldn't be having any carbs in the morning. To be honest, the bone broth isn't too bad, but overall this meal with the chicken and lettuce and the broth that we have is mostly plain. So I'm gonna give it a 3 for taste. For creativity, the bone broth really took me off guard, but in a good way. So I'm gonna be adding an additional point just for that. And for creativity, we've got a 2. For preparation, this one can be a little tricky because we've got a few things that we need to worry about. The bone broth, making the chicken, and cutting up the lettuce, which is the easiest part. So it's not the most convenient meal, but it's still not too bad. So I'm gonna give it a 3 for preparation and health-wise. Is this meal actually healthy? Well, we gotta give it to Zac, man. He knows what he's doing, or at least his trainer or nutritionist does. This meal overall is really healthy with the bone broth, the high protein from the chicken, the micronutrients from the lettuce. Overall, this meal is very good. It's almost perfect. So I'm gonna give it a 4 for health. And Zac, you got a total score of 12. And last but not least, the infamous Kevin Hart, our short king of the video. From this guy, I'm expecting a lot because he's actually the only one in this video that owns a restaurant. Well, Kev, let's see what you're up to when you have dinner. For dinner, we've got chicken, brown rice, and broccoli. Not too bad. Simple, high protein, a very well balanced meal.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
I believe Kevin has been influenced quite a bit by The Rock because this is very bodybuilding-like meal. But enough with the chit chat, let's do a taste test. So let me actually grab a bite with the chicken, broccoli and the brown rice and see. Well, I can't say that I'm disappointed, but for taste, I'm giving this a 2. I've had this exact meal way too many times in the past, and I believe whoever is watching, you've also had this meal a lot, so it's boring. For creativity, there really isn't much going on here. All we know is that 1 + 1 = 2, and wherever there is chicken and broccoli, there's also rice nearby.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So I'm giving this a solid 1 for creativity. Now for preparation, I'm gonna give this a 2.5 because it does take quite some time to cook, especially the brown rice. For some reason, brown rice takes forever to cook, so I'm actually gonna scale it down. For preparation, Kev, you're getting a 2. And last, health. Is this meal actually healthy? Well, if this isn't the epitome of healthy, I don't know what is. So I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5 for health. And Kevin, you're getting a total score of 9.5. And the winner of having the best meal is Kim Kardashian. One lesson that I can share after trying all of these celebrity diets and routines is that no matter who you are and what your goals are, there is always room for a cheat meal. So make sure to enjoy them, but don't go overboard. And if you enjoy the video, don't be shy. Like and subscribe, and until next time, I'm out.